Recognize Senator Young.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Welcome, Mr. Secretary. Good to have you before the committee. In your testimony, you discussed the crisis of deaths on America's roadways and the urgent need to address this major safety concern, and I couldn't agree more. One significant way to tackle this crisis in the short, medium, and long term is to support the development and deployment of automated vehicles. AVs have the potential to increase safety, reduce traffic, and benefit the disabled, blind, elderly, and others. The United States has long been at the forefront of automated vehicle innovation. However, as we approach a critical point in the evolution of the technology, and companies need opportunities to safely scale testing and deployment, other nations are creating opportunities that don't exist here in the U.S. For example, Singapore has dedicated over 620 square miles of road testing for AV testing. Secretary Buttigieg, are automated vehicles a priority of the Department of Transportation in this administration? And if so, do you support passage of a national AV framework?
They are a priority for us, partly for the reason you cited. We're in the middle of a crisis of roadway deaths, and one of the many promises that exists, or areas of promise that exists with AVs, is an opportunity to fundamentally change the safety outcomes on our roadways. We're doing what we can with the authorities and flexibilities that we have, but we lack a fully established legislative framework for that, and we would welcome one that would clarify authorities, and in particular, I would mention a division of labor that unofficially exists between my department, and the states, which doesn't really contemplate automated vehicles, and that's that we tend to regulate or assure the safety of the design of the vehicle, and the state DMVs are concerned with the driver. That framework makes sense until you have a scenario where the vehicle is the driver. I don't know how we can address some of those issues without the involvement of Congress.
Oh, thank you for that. What is DOT doing to support creation of pathways for the safe expansion of testing and deployment of automated vehicles in the U.S.?
So one thing we're doing is we're using the statutory authority that NHTSA does have to allow deployments of vehicles that are exempt from the vehicle safety standards. To give you a few examples of how this might come into play, a vehicle safety standard right now might prescribe where a mirror has to go in a vehicle that doesn't have a driver. Same thing around the steering wheel, et cetera. There is a limit to how many exemptions can be authorized. We can offer up to 2,500 per year for 2 years, so effectively 5,000 per applicant. So far, we've granted one exemption, but we have more exemptions that have been requested and are working promptly to address those because we do want to see the kind of research, development, and testing continue, and of course, we want to see the AV future made in America.
Thank you, Secretary. The department's currently relying on a standing general order to collect specific safety-related data on driver assist technologies and automated driving systems being tested on U.S. roads. What is the goal of this standing general order, and why is the department relying on this standard general order approach as opposed to something like a pilot program or streamlined and expanded exemptions, which would, I would think, provide the data needed to inform future regulations as well as other policy priorities related to AVs?
So the standing general order is intended to help us to assess the safety of automated vehicles and also position our department to take action if an automated vehicle or an advanced driver assistance system vehicle poses an unreasonable risk to safety. And by doing that, by requiring operators and manufacturers of AVs and of ADAS systems to report crashes, in the case of automated systems, that's all crashes. In the case of driver assistance systems, it's serious crashes. We think allows us to gather that information and take action where needed. The most recent, or certainly one example, would be the Pony AI ADS recall, which took place in March of this year. That happened because of information that we had visibility on through that standing general order and the reporting that it mandated. Again, this is something that could no doubt be refined through updated congressional authorities, but it's an effort to make sure with the authorities that we do have that we're not missing visibility on anything that could pose a risk.
So would the administration be open to a specific directive that gave the department the authority to stand up a pilot program, which in turn I would hope would lead to more robust data collection about AVs.
I would certainly be interested in working with you to frame something like that.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Secretary.
Thank you.